Have you ever met someone who walks into a room and instantly draws attention? Not because they're loud, flashy, or trying to be noticed, but because there's just something about them that feels effortlessly magnetic. That's what we call silent attractiveness. It's not about being the center of attention. It's about having a presence, calm, composed, and deeply self-assured, that naturally pulls people in, like a quiet force that speaks volumes without needing to say a word. This kind of charm doesn't come from perfect looks or bold gestures. It comes from the way you carry yourself, how you treat others, and how comfortable you are in your own skin. It's about mastering subtle habits that communicate confidence, kindness, and self-respect, without ever having to ask for attention. And here's the best part. You don't have to change who you are to cultivate this presence. You simply need to become more in tune with the best version of yourself. In this episode, we'll uncover 11 socially attractive habits inspired by the timeless wisdom of Stoicism. These aren't quick hacks or trendy tips. They're enduring principles that help you build emotional intelligence, inner strength, and a kind of quiet confidence that earns you respect and admiration effortlessly. We'll talk about owning your independence, practicing silent elegance, cultivating wisdom, and becoming the kind of person whose presence alone makes an impact. By the end of this episode, you'll understand that true attractiveness isn't something you chase. It's something you grow from within. It's quiet, steady, and once you develop it, you'll see just how powerful it can be, not only in changing how others see you, but in transforming how you see yourself. So, let's dive in, because being silently attractive isn't about making noise. It's about making an impression. Habit 1. Embrace your authentic independence. There's something undeniably powerful about people who don't rely on others to feel worthy. A quiet strength that stands out, even without trying. Authentic independence doesn't mean shutting people out or proving that you don't need anyone. It's about living according to your values, staying true to your path, and finding fulfillment in who you are, not in how others see you. That kind of independence sends a powerful, unspoken message. I respect myself, and I don't need outside approval to feel whole. And people are naturally drawn to those who stand strong in their individuality. In a world obsessed with comparison and external validation, genuine independence is rare. It's refreshing. It's inspiring. When you're truly independent, you stop trying to keep up with others. You're focused on your own journey, your own progress. And that kind of quiet focus speaks louder than any words. You don't need to tell people you're confident. They'll feel it. You don't need to announce that you're in control of your life. It shows in the way you move, in your calm energy, and in the steady strength you radiate. But let's be honest, independence isn't easy. It means trusting yourself, even when no one's cheering you on. It means standing by your decisions, even when they're unpopular. It's about learning to enjoy your own company, not because you're avoiding others, but because you've found real peace within yourself. When you reach the point where you no longer need external noise or validation to feel complete, something shifts. You become someone others naturally respect, admire, and feel drawn to, without you ever needing to prove anything. In the last part, we explored the quiet strength of authentic independence. Now, let's go a bit deeper. Because when you truly embrace that independence, it's not about pushing people away. In fact, it's quite the opposite. Authentic independence isn't arrogance. It doesn't say, I don't need anyone. Instead, it softly declares, I'm strong enough on my own. And that's exactly why I can connect with others in a real and meaningful way. It's about being whole within yourself, so your relationships are based on mutual respect, not emotional dependence. That's what makes it so compelling. It's stable, grounded, and quietly powerful. So, how do you begin to cultivate this kind of self-sufficiency? Start by taking a close look at your values. Ask yourself, am I living in alignment with what truly matters to me? Or am I being driven by what others expect of me? Independence begins the moment you choose to follow your inner compass, instead of bending to outside pressure. Spending time alone can help you hear that compass more clearly. And no, not because you're isolating yourself, but because you're reconnecting with who you are at your core. Take a quiet walk, journal your thoughts, sit in stillness. These aren't just solo activities, they're moments of realignment, chances to build a deeper relationship with yourself. And when you develop that kind of self-awareness and inner peace, something beautiful happens. You stop chasing attention, because it finds you. People start to notice the calm confidence in the way you move, the quiet assurance behind your decisions, and the unwavering strength in how you carry yourself. You don't have to be the loudest voice in the room to stand out. You'll be respected not for how much noise you make, but for how genuinely your life reflects who you are. Embracing your independence doesn't mean relationships become less important. It means they become more honest. You value yourself enough to form connections based on mutual trust and shared respect, not neediness or fear of being alone. And that right there is what makes you silently magnetic. It's not loud, it's not showy, but it leaves a mark. It lingers in people's minds, and it gently inspires others to do the same. So what's next after mastering authentic independence? Let's talk about something just as powerful, yet often overlooked. Habit 2. Master the art of silent elegance. We just explored how silent confidence starts with independence, how being whole within yourself draws people in without needing to ask for attention. Now let's take it a step further, because once that inner strength is in place, it begins to shape how you move, how you speak, and even how you simply exist in a room. This is the essence of silent elegance, and often, it's more powerful than anything you could ever say out loud. It all begins with body language, because confidence isn't just something you express through words. It lives in your posture, your gaze, your presence. Think about it, how you stand, how you walk, how you hold yourself. These things speak volumes. A calm, upright stance, relaxed shoulders, steady eye contact. These small cues radiate self-assurance without coming across as arrogant. You don't need grand gestures or fidgety movements to make an impression. In fact, the simpler, the better. There's a quiet strength in controlled, intentional body language. When your posture and presence reflect calm and composure, people can't help but take notice. They're drawn in, not by flashiness, but by the stability you project. But silent elegance goes beyond just how you move. It shows up in how you treat people. Your manners, your grace in daily interactions, they all speak for you. Greeting, someone with warmth, listening with genuine attention, treating everyone, yes, even strangers, with quiet courtesy. All of these reflect deep respect for others and for yourself. And here's the key. It's not about being overly formal or cold. Silent elegance isn't stiff. It's soft, approachable, and full of intention. It's about carrying yourself in a way that makes others feel acknowledged and valued. People may not remember every word you say, but they will remember how you made them feel. And when you move through the world with grace and quiet strength, you leave behind an impression that lingers. Now let's talk about something even more subtle, restraint. In a world where everyone's trying to be heard, where noise often drowns out meaning, the ability to remain composed, especially under pressure, is a rare and powerful trait. When those around you are reacting emotionally or losing their cool, your ability to stay calm gives you a silent kind of authority. You don't need to blurt out the first thing that comes to mind. You don't get pulled into every drama or argument. Instead, you pause. You respond instead of react. And in doing so, you show that you are in control of yourself, not controlled by your surroundings. The Stoic philosophers understood this deeply. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The nearer a man comes to a calm mind, the closer he is to strength." True elegance, then, lies in that very calm. When your words are measured, your actions deliberate, and your presence steady, people instinctively Trust and respect you, especially in moments when everything else feels uncertain or chaotic. So how do you begin cultivating silent elegance? Start small. Pay attention to the way you carry yourself in everyday life. Are you constantly rushing? Do you find yourself tense, reactive, or distracted? Practice slowing down. Stand tall, breathe deeply. Bring intention to even the most routine movements, and observe how you engage with others. Are you truly listening, or just waiting for your chance to speak? Are your gestures thoughtful or automatic? Silent elegance doesn't come from performing, it grows through mindfulness. It thrives when you are fully present in your body and fully engaged in your interactions. And once you begin to embody this kind of still, quiet power, there's one more piece to the puzzle. It's time to talk about something equally impactful: cultivating wisdom. Previously, we explored how silent elegance shows up in your body language, manners, and calm composure. But there's another layer to this art, one that's more refined, subtle, and deeply personal. It's about how you bring your best self into each moment with quiet intention. Let's talk about refinement. Because elegance isn't about being perfect, it's about being purposeful. It's about the ongoing effort to present yourself with grace, clarity, and quiet confidence. That doesn't mean dressing extravagantly or speaking in rehearsed lines. It's about the small, consistent choices, choosing clothes that reflect your personal style in a subtle, thoughtful way. Speaking clearly, not to impress, but to express. Approaching situations with composure, even when things don't go your way. It's in these everyday moments, how you walk into a room, how you respond when someone interrupts you, how you handle awkwardness with kindness instead of ego, that a quiet sophistication begins to form around you. And here's the key: silent elegance isn't about trying to be someone you're not. It's not about performance. It's about fully embracing who you are and showing up, not to seek praise, but simply to bring your best energy into every space you enter. Over time, people will start to associate you with a kind of calm presence, a steady sense of dignity and respect. They may not even know why they feel that way around you, but they will feel it. And that's the quiet power of refinement. It doesn't shout, it doesn't beg for recognition, but it leaves a mark. When you master silent elegance, you move through life with a quiet strength that doesn't need applause. Admiration follows you naturally, and just by being who you are, rooted, poised, intentional, you inspire others to slow down, to carry themselves with a little more grace, a little more care. And that brings us to the next habit, one that's incredibly subtle, often overlooked, but undeniably powerful. Habit 3. The subtle scent of sophistication. Have you ever noticed how a small detail, like a faint, beautiful scent, can stay with you long after someone's left the room? Sometimes it's the softest elements that create the most lasting impressions. The subtle scent of sophistication is one of those quiet signals of self-awareness and elegance. It's not about overpowering the senses. It's about leaving behind a refined, gentle trace that lingers, almost like a memory. A well-chosen fragrance reflects something deeper: attention to detail, personal care, and a sense of inner refinement. It's a way of saying, I take care of myself. I value the little things, and it's in those little things that true silent attraction begins to bloom. Think about it. How many times have you remembered someone just because of how they smelled? Scent is one of the most instinctive senses we have. A light, pleasant fragrance can create a comforting, sophisticated aura without a single word being spoken. But it's not just about wearing expensive cologne or perfume. Sophistication through scent is all about balance. Overpowering fragrances can feel forced or even off-putting. But a gentle, refined scent, whether it's your signature fragrance or simply the clean, fresh smell of good hygiene, can make People feel more drawn to you, more at ease in your presence. It tells the world that you don't just care about what people see, you care about the invisible details that complete the whole experience of being around you. So what are some of the other silent habits that leave a lasting impression, without ever having to say a word? In the last part, we explored how the subtle scent of sophistication isn't just about fragrance, it's a quiet form of self-expression. Now, let's take that idea a step further. Because true sophistication is not only in the scent you wear, but in the way you care for yourself, down to the smallest detail. The art of scent goes beyond smell. It's about what it represents. Taking the time to choose a fragrance that reflects who you are, that suits your energy, your mood, your personal style, shows a deep sense of self-awareness. Whether your scent is woody and grounded, crisp and fresh, or light with a gentle sweetness, it should echo the calm, composed energy you carry. It should enhance your presence, never overwhelm it. But beyond the world of fragrances, sophistication also lives in your overall approach to self-care. Your cleanliness, grooming, and the thoughtful attention you give to your appearance. These things speak volumes without a word being said. This isn't about vanity. It's not about chasing perfection or trying to impress. It's about showing that you respect yourself enough to bring your best forward, quietly, consistently, and intentionally. Because silent confidence is often found in the smallest details. The Stoics understood this well. They believed your outer appearance should align with your inner peace. The philosopher Seneca once said, "Let your outward appearance be simple and dignified, reflecting the serenity of your mind." In other words, how you present yourself on the outside should be a reflection of the calm and clarity you've cultivated on the inside. By developing a refined presence through subtle scent and personal care, you're not just appearing put together, you're sending a quiet but powerful message. I am mindful. I am composed. I take pride in who I am. So, how can you embody this habit in everyday life? Start by being intentional with your self-care routine. Choose a fragrance that feels authentic to you, something that complements who you are rather than defines you. Pay attention to the small but meaningful details: well-groomed hair, fresh breath, clean nails, a polished and tidy appearance. These aren't grand gestures. They're quiet declarations of self-respect, and they add up. Remember, silent attractiveness isn't about trying to stand out. It's about being effortlessly memorable. When used with subtlety and care, scent becomes your invisible signature, something that lingers gently in a room, something people associate with you even after you've left. Because mastering the subtle scent of sophistication is about so much more than how you smell. It's about the message you send without ever speaking. A message that says, I take pride in the details. I care about how I show up. I respect myself. And that, more than anything, is what makes you silently and irresistibly attractive. Now that we've explored the physical aspects of silent attractiveness, let's turn inward once again. Because one of the most powerful habits of all is also one of the rarest in today's world. Habit 4. Being fully present. In the previous section, we explored how physical presence, through personal care and subtle scent, can leave a lasting impression. But just as powerful as how you show up externally is how you show up mentally and emotionally. And that brings us to one of the rarest, yet most impactful habits of all: being fully present. You don't become captivating by trying to grab attention. You become captivating by offering something increasingly rare: genuine connection. We've all been there. You're talking to someone, and even though they're physically in front of you, their mind is clearly somewhere else. They glance at their phone. Their eyes wander. They nod, but it's empty. How does that feel? Dismissive, disconnected, as if your words don't matter. Now contrast that with someone who's truly engaged, who looks you in the eye, listens without interrupting, and responds thoughtfully. The energy shifts completely. You feel seen, you feel heard, you feel respected. That's the silent power of presence. It draws people in, not because you're flashy, but because you make them feel important. And here's the beautiful part. Being fully present doesn't require perfection. It simply requires intention. It means resisting the impulse to check your phone every few minutes or mentally preparing your next response while someone else is still speaking. It's about immersing yourself in the now, being genuinely curious, fully focused on the person in front of you. When you embody this habit, you begin to build deeper, more meaningful connections, because people won't just remember what you said, they'll remember how you made them feel. The Stoic philosophers knew this well. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Confine yourself to the present." To the Stoics, real strength and wisdom weren't found in dwelling on the past or anxiously planning the future. They were found in fully engaging with the here and now. And when you're present, something powerful happens. You gain control over your mind, your emotions, and your interactions. You become someone others trust, respect, and feel naturally drawn to. Being present also sharpens your awareness. You start picking up on the subtleties, the emotions behind someone's words, the energy in a room, the small cues others might miss. You become more perceptive, more empathetic, more socially intelligent. And that combination, genuine presence and emotional awareness, makes you quietly irresistible. So how do you begin to cultivate this rare habit? That's exactly what we'll explore next. Let's take a closer look at how to practice presence in everyday moments, without forcing it and without distraction. Previously, we explored the quiet power of presence, how giving someone your full attention makes them feel valued in a world full of distractions. Now let's look at how you can bring that level of mindfulness into your everyday life. Presence isn't just a concept, it's a practice, and it begins in the smallest, most ordinary moments. Whether you're in the middle of a conversation, enjoying a meal, or simply taking a walk outside, train yourself to be fully there. Put your phone away. Resist the urge to multitask. Tune in, completely. Listen more than you speak. Notice the details, the tone of someone's voice, the breeze on your skin, the way your food tastes. These may sound like small things, but this kind of deep attention transforms the ordinary into something meaningful. When you're truly present, you naturally radiate calm, care, and quiet confidence. People feel it. They feel safer around you, more at ease. Why? Because your presence tells them, without a single word, you matter. And that is something they never forget. In a world where everyone is competing for attention, presence is magnetic. Not because you're trying to be noticed, but because you're making others feel seen. And here's the magic. Being fully present doesn't require dramatic effort or grand gestures. It's built through small, consistent moments. Moments where you show up mentally, emotionally, and not just physically. The more you practice this, the more you'll notice a change. People will start opening up to you more easily. Conversations will flow with depth. Your relationships will strengthen naturally, effortlessly, because presence creates trust. And trust, when combined with real connection, becomes the foundation of attraction. Not the loud, fleeting kind, but the kind that stays, the kind that matters. In a noisy world, be the one who listens. Be the one who's fully there. You'll be amazed at how magnetic you become, not because you're trying to take up space, but because your quiet focus makes others feel truly seen, truly appreciated. And that is one of the purest forms of silent attractiveness. But there's another subtle habit that deepens this allure even more, one that's often forgotten in the age of oversharing. Habit 5. A touch of mystery. Because when everyone's telling the world everything, there's something powerfully attractive about someone who chooses to hold a little bit back. Earlier, we explored how being fully present makes you magnetic, how offering your full attention creates a deep sense of connection. But what if you could take that quiet presence and add a layer of intrigue? That's where the next habit comes. In Habit 5, a touch of mystery. In a world where oversharing has become the norm, There's something deeply attractive, almost magnetic, about someone who holds just a little bit back. This isn't about playing games or being fake. True mystery doesn't come from manipulation. It comes from intentionality. Humans are wired to be curious. We're naturally drawn to what we don't fully understand. So when someone carries themselves with quiet confidence and doesn't feel the need to explain every decision or broadcast every detail of their life, they instantly become more compelling. Being mysterious is simply about being selective with what you share. It's about knowing that not everything needs to be said. You can be warm, open, and kind, and still keep parts of your story to yourself. Share what's meaningful, what's true to you, but allow other parts of your life to remain personal. When you strike this balance, you come across as self-assured, someone who's in control of their narrative and not driven by the need for validation. The Stoics, once again, were ahead of their time. They believed in the wisdom of restraint, knowing when to speak and when to remain silent. The philosopher Epictetus said it best: "Be silent, or let your words be worth more than silence." Mystery works the same way. It's not about withholding, just for the sake of it. It's about knowing that sometimes less truly is more. When you speak, let it matter. And when you choose not to explain something, let that silence speak for you. Mystery isn't only in words, it's in your actions too. Let people wonder. You don't have to justify every bold decision or walk people through your reasoning. When your actions are aligned with your values, they speak volumes. And that kind of quiet confidence sends a clear signal. I don't need to be understood by everyone. I'm comfortable being me, even if you don't have all the answers. Another way to embody mystery is by living a layered life. Be someone with depth, someone whose interests, passions, and values aren't immediately obvious. Let people discover you gradually. When someone gets to know you, it should feel like peeling back layers, each one revealing something new, meaningful, and authentic. These layers make your presence more memorable. They make every interaction with you feel like a discovery, not a performance. So how do you embrace this touch of mystery in everyday life? Start by asking yourself, am I oversharing to feel accepted? Or am I sharing what truly matters? The goal isn't to be distant, it's to be intentional. Share enough to build trust, to connect, but leave room for curiosity. Let people earn the deeper chapters of your story. Not only does this protect your inner world, but it also makes those connections far more valuable. Because when someone slowly uncovers the real you, it becomes a journey they cherish. Mystery keeps you from being easily categorized. It keeps you from becoming predictable. And in a world where most people are open books, you become the captivating story with pages people want to turn. Let them wonder. Let them imagine. Let your quiet complexity speak louder than any performance. And when that subtle mystery is combined with your calm confidence, it creates a kind of presence that lingers, one they'll remember long after you've left the room. Now, what happens when that presence is paired with knowledge, awareness of the world and the people in it? In the previous section, we uncovered the quiet allure of mystery, the power of holding something back in a world that shares everything. But mystery alone isn't what makes a person truly magnetic. It becomes far more powerful when combined with something deeper: knowledge, empathy, and a genuine curiosity about the world. Habit 6. Cultivate cultural wisdom. There's something undeniably attractive about someone who carries themselves with quiet confidence and a broad, thoughtful understanding of the world around them. Cultural wisdom isn't about flaunting how much you know. It's about being someone who listens, learns, and contributes meaningful insight when the time is right. It's not performative, it's purposeful. At its heart, cultivating cultural wisdom means developing an open mind. It means seeking out different viewpoints, embracing diverse perspectives, and enriching your conversations with thoughts that go deeper than surface-level talk. And no, this isn't limited to memorizing facts about other countries. or speaking multiple languages. It's about something more human than that. It's about curiosity, a curiosity for people's stories, their traditions, their beliefs, the experiences that shape how they see the world. When you carry this kind of awareness, it shows that you don't live in a narrow bubble. It shows that you're engaged with the world beyond your personal life, and that adds a real depth to who you are. This broad-mindedness makes you someone who can connect with almost anyone, because when people feel seen, heard, and understood, they open up, and you become the kind of person they want to talk to, trust, and respect. When you cultivate cultural wisdom, you're not trying to dominate a conversation. You don't need to be the loudest voice. Instead, you offer insights that invite reflection. You create dialogue, not debate. You become the person who gently elevates the conversation, someone who brings substance without trying to steal the spotlight. The Stoics deeply valued this kind of perspective. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Look beneath the surface. Let not the outward appearances mislead you." Cultural wisdom gives you exactly that power. It teaches you to look deeper, not just at others, but at life itself. It helps you navigate complex situations with ease and humility, because you're not locked into rigid thinking. You've trained yourself to see from multiple angles, to pause and consider before you speak. And that flexibility, that ability to understand different realities, makes you adaptable, thoughtful, and quietly compelling. So how can you begin to develop cultural wisdom? Start by broadening your horizons. Read books that challenge your assumptions. Watch films and documentaries from cultures different from your own. Engage in real conversations with people who've lived experiences unlike yours. If you can, travel, not just to see places, but to understand people. If travel isn't possible, explore virtually. We live in a world more connected than ever. Cultural exposure is only a few clicks away. But remember, this isn't about becoming a trivia expert or collecting knowledge like trophies. It's about becoming someone who understands people. And when you do, you'll carry a quiet power that makes every interaction deeper and more meaningful. So what happens when that wisdom is paired with emotional depth and the ability to control your reactions? In the last part, we explored how cultural wisdom adds depth to your presence, how curiosity, openness, and respect for diverse perspectives can make you quietly magnetic. But this wisdom isn't just about what you know, it's also about how you listen. Because true wisdom begins with understanding, not just speaking. Cultural wisdom isn't about becoming a walking encyclopedia or showing off what you've learned. It's about becoming someone who genuinely values the richness of human experience and who listens without judgment. When someone shares their views with you, resist the temptation to instantly agree, disagree, or jump in with your own story. Instead, pause, be curious, ask thoughtful questions. Let them feel that you're not just waiting for your turn to speak, you're actually interested. This simple shift can change everything. It deepens your understanding, yes, but more importantly, it makes the other person feel respected and valued in your presence. Being knowledgeable doesn't mean dominating a conversation. In fact, the most attractive people often say the least. But when they do speak, their words carry weight. They speak with humility, with purpose, and with authenticity. They don't speak to impress, they speak to connect. If you want to know whether you're cultivating true cultural wisdom, ask yourself, am I open to learning from every person I meet? Because that's the heart of it. It's not about how much you already know. It's about how willing you are to keep learning. When you embody this mindset, you begin to radiate a quiet intelligence. It's not loud. It's not performative. It draws people in, not because you're trying to stand out, but because you care. Genuinely, people are naturally drawn to those who bring depth to a conversation, who speak with insight that makes them pause and reflect. And over time, you'll notice something. People will seek out your presence, not because you're flashy or forceful, but because your calm, thoughtful energy makes them feel grounded. In a world full of surface-level chatter, be the one who speaks with grace. Cultivate wisdom not to show off, but for the richness it brings to your life and the lives of others. When you do, you'll quietly become unforgettable. And that brings us to the next habit, one that goes hand in hand with wisdom and takes your presence to an even deeper level. Habit 7, the heartbeat of compassion. Because in a fast-paced world where everyone is rushing, few things are more powerful or more rare than genuine kindness. In the last segment, we talked about how wisdom creates depth, but wisdom alone isn't what truly connects people. For that, we need something softer, something more human. Habit 7, the heartbeat of compassion. In a fast-moving world where so many interactions feel transactional, compassion stands out like a quiet light in the dark. Genuine kindness, offered without agenda or expectation, is rare. And that's exactly why it's so powerful. People are naturally drawn to those who make them feel understood, not judged. That's what compassion does. It builds a bridge, a subtle but strong connection that brings people closer, not through big gestures, but through small, intentional presence. And here's the truth. Compassion isn't about having all the answers. It's not about fixing someone's problems or knowing the perfect thing to say. Often it's simply about being there with your full attention, your patience, and your quiet care. Sometimes the most lasting impression isn't made through words. It's made through presence, the kind of presence that says, "I see you, I'm with you." And that kind of moment, people remember it. Even the Stoics, often misunderstood as emotionally detached, believed deeply in empathy. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Be tolerant with others and strict with yourself." To the Stoics, compassion wasn't weakness, it was strength. A strength rooted in understanding human struggle while holding your own emotional balance. When you show up in this way, not to take over someone's burden, but to stand with them, you become someone people feel safe around. They may not even be able to explain it, but your calm energy becomes a place of comfort. Of course, compassion must be balanced. It doesn't mean letting others walk all over you. It doesn't mean absorbing every emotion around you. It's about being kind, without being a pushover, empathetic, but emotionally grounded. And it starts with listening, not to jump in with solutions, but to understand. Give people your full attention. Let go of the urge to immediately fix things. Sometimes, the most healing thing you can offer is simply your presence. Compassion also means being patient, with others, yes, but also with yourself. No one has it all together. Life is messy. Emotions are unpredictable. And when you bring patience into those moments, you show real emotional maturity, a trait that's quietly, deeply attractive. People may not remember every conversation, but they will remember how you made them feel in their most vulnerable moments. They'll remember who stayed calm, who stayed kind when things were hard. So ask yourself, am I someone who makes others feel seen and valued? If the answer isn't always yes, that's okay. Compassion isn't a trait you're born with. It's a habit, one you can strengthen, one moment at a time. Start by being kind to yourself. You can't pour from an empty cup. Tend to your emotional well-being first, so you can offer real kindness from a place of calm and authenticity. Because compassion doesn't require perfection. You don't need flawless words or perfect timing. You just need to be real. Be there. Be kind. That's enough. And that quiet kindness, it lingers. It's not the kind of thing people rave about, but it's the kind they never forget. It's what makes your presence feel safe. It's what makes it feel rare. So what happens when compassion meets purpose? Let's talk about your sense of direction. Habit 8, grounded ambition. In the last section, we explored the quiet strength of compassion, the kind of presence that doesn't demand attention, but makes people feel deeply seen and cared for. And while compassion offers emotional grounding, there's another quality that brings lightness to your presence and makes it irresistibly warm. Habit 8, Laughter and joy. Few things are as universally attractive as someone who radiates genuine joy, someone who knows how to laugh with ease and find delight even in life's simplest moments. In a world filled with pressure, stress, and constant noise, joy becomes a breath of fresh air. It breaks tension, it lowers walls, it connects people in a way that words alone never could. Laughter is a universal language. It bridges cultural divides. It softens serious situations. And when it's real, not forced, it creates instant rapport. When you cultivate the habit of noticing joy, whether in small daily wins or shared conversations, you become someone people naturally want to be around. Your presence carries a sense of lightness, warmth, and ease. Why? Because joy is healing. And people are drawn to those who remind them that life, despite its challenges, can still be beautiful. Of course, life isn't always easy. Everyone is carrying something: fears, burdens, uncertainty. But when you develop the ability to smile, to laugh, even when things aren't perfect, you demonstrate one of the most quietly powerful traits of all: resilience. It's not about being the loudest in the room or constantly cracking jokes. It's about carrying a gentle internal sense of joy, a calm kind of optimism that lifts the mood of those around you without ever trying too hard. Even Stoic philosophy, often misunderstood as purely serious or emotionless, actually encourages this mindset. The Stoics taught that while we cannot control external events, we can always control how we respond. Epictetus said it best: "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." And sometimes choosing to laugh, to respond to unpredictability with humor, is an act of true strength. It shows that your emotions don't control you. You control them. And that kind of inner freedom, it's rare and magnetic. Think for a moment. How many of your most cherished relationships were strengthened by shared laughter? Those moments of joy, even in chaos, create bonds that last. Humor builds trust. It opens hearts. It creates a sense of belonging. When people laugh with you, they remember how they felt around you. They remember that lightness, that joy, and that feeling, that emotional imprint. It lingers, often longer than words ever could. So, as you move through the world, ask yourself, am I bringing heaviness or light? You don't need to pretend everything is fine all the time, but when you carry a quiet joy within, you offer others something they didn't even know they needed. It's not loud, it's not flashy, but it's unforgettable. Now imagine combining that joyful presence with unwavering direction, clarity about who you are and where you're headed. Let's explore habit 9, grounded ambition. In the previous section, we uncovered the power of laughter and joy, how sharing even a simple smile can make your presence lighter, warmer, and quietly magnetic. But that joy doesn't have to be loud or staged. In fact, its most powerful form is when it flows from authenticity, because people feel safe around those who don't take themselves too seriously. When you can laugh at life's little quirks and at yourself from time to time, it makes you approachable and relatable. You create an atmosphere where others feel like they don't have to be perfect to be accepted, and that's a rare kind of comfort. Cultivating this habit of lightness isn't about cracking jokes all the time or trying to be the funniest person in the room. It's not performative, it's genuine. It's about finding joy in real moments, smiling at something small, laughing off an awkward moment, not because you're pretending everything's fine, but because you've learned to hold both life's challenges and its humor in the same breath. When you stop clinging to perfection and allow yourself to laugh, even at your own mistakes, it sends a powerful message. I'm human, and I'm okay with that. And when others see that, they feel like they can exhale, they can be real too, and that's where true connection begins. To grow this habit, start by noticing the little sparks of joy in your day. When something makes you smile, lean into it. Don't brush it off. Share a light-hearted thought. Make a fun observation. Let others feel that moment with you. Learn to laugh at your slip-ups, not in a way that downplays your effort, but in a way that shows you're resilient, grounded, and not afraid of imperfection. And don't forget the environment you surround yourself with. Spend time with people who lift you up, who know how to find humor in the ordinary, who remind you that even in the tough moments, there's still something to smile about. Joy is contagious, and when you make it a habit to share it, you create a ripple effect. The people around you feel lighter, more connected, and more at ease. Ask yourself, am I letting joy be part of my everyday life? Life doesn't always have to be heavy. There's strength in being able to laugh, even when things aren't perfect. It shows grace. It shows resilience. And more than anything, it shows that you've chosen to live with presence, not pressure. Silent attractiveness isn't about grand gestures or constant excitement. It's about quiet, steady qualities that linger. When you share genuine laughter and lightness, you become someone others want to be around, not because you impress them, but because you uplift them. People may not remember everything you say, but they'll always remember how you made them feel. Bring a little humor, a little warmth, a little joy, and you'll find that silent attraction follows effortlessly. Now imagine pairing that joyful energy with true self-respect, honoring your well-being from the inside out. That's where habit 9 comes in, the art of self-care. In the last part, we explored how laughter and joy create a sense of lightness that makes your presence unforgettable. But to consistently radiate that warmth, to lift others while staying grounded, you need a strong foundation. And that begins with habit 9, the art of self-care. When you take care of yourself, physically, mentally, and emotionally, you silently communicate something powerful. I value myself. You're showing the world that your well-being matters, not just in theory, but in action. And that subtle message? It's quietly magnetic, because true self-care goes far beyond appearances. It's not about perfection or indulgence. It's about self-respect. It's about balance, and it's about inner strength. When you prioritize your health and happiness, you're sending a clear message, not for attention, but as a reflection of self-worth. I respect myself enough to show up for myself every single day. This quiet confidence is something people feel without you ever having to say a word. Why? Because we're naturally drawn to those who radiate vitality and inner peace. People who feel whole don't need to prove anything, and that energy is rare. Now let's be clear, self-care doesn't mean treating yourself endlessly or chasing trends. It means building consistent habits that keep you grounded, energized, and emotionally stable. It's the daily decision to honor your body and mind, even when life is hectic. The foundation of self-care always begins with the body. Someone who exercises regularly, eats well, and gets enough sleep is sending out a quiet but powerful signal. I take responsibility for my well-being. You don't have to look like a fitness model. That's not the point. But when people see that you move your body, fuel it well, and give it proper rest, they instinctively respect it, because it shows discipline, commitment, and self-awareness. That kind of physical presence, balanced, healthy, and grounded, creates admiration without effort. But self-care doesn't stop at the body. Mental and emotional well-being are just as vital. We all face stress. We all encounter setbacks. But those who practice self-care develop ways to manage these challenges gracefully. Whether it's meditation, journaling, setting healthy boundaries, or simply taking quiet time to recharge, these small but powerful habits create mental resilience. And when your mind is clear, when you're centered and calm, people can feel it. You don't need to declare that you're stable and composed. Your presence does it for you. Even the Stoics, known for their emphasis on discipline and focus, saw the value in balance. Seneca once wrote, "A sound mind in a sound body is a short but full description of a happy state in this world." And that's exactly what self-care is about. It's not a luxury. It's not selfish. It's about achieving internal harmony, a steady, grounded energy that not only helps you feel better, but also makes you naturally more attractive to those around you. You begin to radiate something subtle yet powerful: calm, control, presence, quiet strength. And when people feel that from you, they're drawn to it, often without even knowing why. Now, imagine pairing that grounded energy with a clear sense of purpose. When your self-respect meets direction, something powerful happens. Let's explore that in the next part. Habit 10. Grounded ambition. Previously, we explored how self-care, when done with intention and consistency, creates a quiet, grounded energy that others can feel. But there's another piece of this puzzle that protects and sustains your well-being from the inside out, knowing your limits and respecting them. And that brings us to an essential extension of self-care: setting healthy boundaries. Boundaries aren't walls that shut people out. They're bridges that protect your energy and define where your peace begins. Setting boundaries means knowing when to say no without guilt. It means recognizing when your body and mind need rest and giving yourself permission to pause. It's choosing to prioritize your own needs, not out of selfishness, but out of self-respect. People who are confident enough to set boundaries often appear more attractive, not because they're distant or hard to get, but because they know their worth. They're not afraid to step back, to protect their space, and to invest their time and energy where it matters most. And that self-awareness, it's quietly magnetic. Ask yourself, am I taking care of myself in a way that reflects how much I value me? If the answer is not yet, that's okay. You don't have to overhaul your life overnight. Start small. Make self-care non-negotiable. A part of your daily rhythm. Go to bed early. Eat foods that nourish you. Step away from noise. Take even just 5 minutes to breathe deeply and reconnect with yourself. These seemingly small acts of care, done consistently, become powerful. They build a foundation of balance that not only supports your well-being, but also transforms the way others experience your presence. Because real self-care isn't selfish. It's essential. When you take care of yourself, you show up better in every area of your life. You have more energy, more clarity, more patience. And that inner alignment, it shines through, even when you're saying nothing at all. People notice those who move through the world with calm, composure, and a sense of peace. Not because they're putting on a show, but because they've built a life that feels good from the inside out. In the end, the art of self-care is about consistency. It's not just about candles and spa days. It's about honoring your body, your mind, and your emotional well-being, day in and day out, even when life gets chaotic, especially then. And when you do that, when you show up for yourself daily, you begin to radiate something rare: quiet confidence, quiet strength, a presence that doesn't demand attention, but earns it. So take care of yourself, not because someone's watching, but because you're worth it. And as you do, watch how the world begins to respond, without you having to say a word. Now let's build on that self-awareness with one of the most transformative habits of all. Habit 10. Emotional intelligence and social awareness. Because there's something effortlessly captivating about someone who truly understands the emotions of the people around them. In the previous part, we talked about self-care and the quiet power that comes from knowing your worth and honoring your boundaries. But what happens when that self-awareness extends beyond you into how you relate to others? That's where habit 10 truly shines. Emotional intelligence and social awareness. Emotional intelligence is the ability to understand your own emotions while staying in tune with the emotions of those around you. And it's one of the most silently magnetic qualities a person can develop. Picture this. You're in a tense situation, Emotions are high. People are snapping, pacing, venting. But then, there's one person who stays calm. They're not reactive. They're observing, listening, responding with intention, not impulse. That's the emotionally intelligent person. They don't add fuel to the fire. They bring perspective. And that quiet composure, it instantly earns respect. People naturally turn to them, not because they're the loudest voice, but because they bring a sense of steadiness when things feel chaotic. It's often said that people may forget what you said, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. When you practice emotional intelligence, you create space. A space where people feel seen, heard, and understood. You're not trying to dominate the conversation or win the moment. You're engaging with presence, with empathy, with the kind of awareness that makes connection possible. And that kind of connection, it's powerful and deeply memorable. Now let's talk about social awareness, the often overlooked sibling of emotional intelligence. Social awareness is the ability to read the room, to pick up on social cues and adapt your behavior accordingly. It means knowing when to speak, when to stay quiet, when to step forward, and when it's better to step back. The Stoics, known for their pursuit of self-mastery, also emphasize the value of understanding others. Epictetus once said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." And that's what social awareness allows you to do. To engage meaningfully without overwhelming the moment. To speak when it adds value, not just to fill space. Developing emotional intelligence begins with self-awareness. Ask yourself, how do I typically react in emotionally charged situations? Do I escalate? Do I withdraw? Or can I find a middle ground, one that's thoughtful and balanced? The goal isn't to suppress your emotions, it's to understand them, to recognize your triggers and develop the ability to pause so that your response is measured, not impulsive. And when you can do that, you exude a quiet strength. You're not easily rattled. You become someone others feel safe around. That kind of emotional stability is rare, and it's quietly, irresistibly attractive. Once you've built that self-awareness, the next layer is empathy, the ability to understand what others might be feeling, even if they don't say it out loud. Empathy isn't about fixing people's problems. Sometimes all someone needs is a patient ear, a gentle nod, a moment of presence. It's these small, quiet signals, these unspoken gestures of care that leave the deepest impact. Social awareness also means being mindful of the energy you bring into a space. Are you adding calmness or tension? Do you observe before jumping in? When you walk into a room, take a breath. Tune into the energy. The people who elevate the space around them are rarely the ones talking the most. They're the ones who listen, who respond with care, who know how to engage in a way that enhances the moment, not hijacks it. To cultivate this habit, start by being fully present in your interactions. Put away distractions. Make eye contact. Really listen, not just to the words, but to the tone, the pauses, the energy behind them. Because when you do, you don't just interact, you connect. And that leads us into our final habit, one that ties everything together and leaves the most lasting impression of all. Habit 11. Stillness and presence. In the last part, we explored the quiet power of emotional intelligence, the ability to understand, empathize, and respond with intention. But the impact of that presence becomes even stronger when you combine it with one simple grounding force: consistency. Habit 11. Consistency and reliability. Let's start with this. In a world where many speak before they think, act before they listen, and overpromise more than they deliver, being someone who shows up with quiet reliability is exceptionally rare, and that rarity is exactly what makes it so attractive. Consistency doesn't shout, it doesn't seek praise, but it builds trust, day by day, moment by moment, through steady action. When you consistently follow through on your word, when you show up even when it's inconvenient, you become someone others instinctively rely on. And that reliability speaks louder than any flashy performance ever could. People remember the ones who don't flake, who don't shift with the wind. They remember the ones who said they'd be there, and were. Whether it's offering support, honoring a small promise, or just being present when it matters, your quiet dependability builds something rare: respect. And the best part? You don't have to tell anyone you're dependable. You don't have to announce your loyalty. It's revealed, silently, steadily, through your actions over time. In relationships, in friendships, in everyday encounters, consistency creates emotional stability. It signals, you can trust me. I won't disappear when things get difficult. And think about it. How often does that kind of trustworthiness show up today? We live in a time where cancelled plans, broken commitments, and ghosting have become normal. That's why the person who shows up, who does what they say they'll do, stands out without needing to try. Reliability doesn't mean being perfect. It doesn't mean having all the answers or never making mistakes. It means being willing to try, to follow through, and to keep showing up even when it's hard or inconvenient. It's about becoming the kind of person others feel safe around. Not because you're flawless, but because you're consistent. You say what you mean. You do what you say. And when people think of you, they think, that's someone I can count on. Ask yourself, am I dependable when no one's watching? Because that's when it matters most. And when you cultivate this quiet strength, you'll find that people won't just admire you, they'll trust you. And trust, more than charm or charisma, is what makes your presence unforgettable. So show up, follow through, and let your actions speak for themselves. Now, imagine pairing that consistency with another powerful quality: stillness. The ability to stay calm, centered, and grounded in a noisy, chaotic world. Let's explore the final piece of the puzzle. Habit 12. Stillness and presence. In the last section, we explored how consistency and reliability create quiet influence. How showing up again and again builds trust more effectively than any bold declaration. Now let's take that to a deeper level. Because the most magnetic people aren't the loudest, they're the most grounded. You don't stand out because you demand attention. You stand out because your presence is steady. Your actions are aligned. Your values are lived, not just spoken. Stoic philosophy teaches us this exact lesson. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." That's the core of true consistency. You don't need to constantly talk about your values. You don't need to prove who you are. You live it, and people see it. Being dependable, quietly, consistently, creates a kind of silent magnetism. People trust you, they respect you, and they want to be around you. Not because you're flashy, but because you're anchored. And here's something powerful. Consistency isn't just about showing up for others. It's about showing up for yourself. When you're reliable, you're not only keeping commitments to friends, family, or colleagues, you're keeping commitments to your own goals, your habits, your personal values. And the more you do that, the more your self-confidence grows, not as something forced or performed, but as something earned. A quiet, natural confidence that others instinctively feel. So how do you cultivate this habit? Start small. Keep the promises you make, even the little ones. If you say you'll do something, do it. Even if no one's watching, especially if no one's watching. Over time, these small, consistent acts begin to compound. You don't build a reputation by making grand declarations. You build it by showing up again and again in both the ordinary and the important moments. Reliability also extends to your emotional presence. It means being steady, not reactive. Being someone who brings calm, not chaos. Someone who can stay grounded, even when things around you are falling apart. Think about how rare that is. In a world full of stress and unpredictability, people are naturally drawn to those who feel safe. People who don't overreact, who don't disappear when things get tough, who stay calm, clear, consistent. Ask yourself, am I someone others can count on? If the answer isn't always yes, that's okay. Like any habit, consistency is something you build gradually. Start with your daily routines. Show up for yourself first. Then extend that consistency into your relationships. By honoring your word, being present, and keeping your promises. Reliability doesn't need to make noise. It earns respect, quietly, steadily, and over time. And that's exactly what makes it so powerful. In a world full of fleeting attention spans and broken commitments, being someone who is steady, dependable, and true to their word is a rare and beautiful thing. You become someone others admire, not because you're trying to impress them, but because your actions speak for themselves. Because at the end of the day, silent attractiveness has never been about being the loudest, the flashiest, or the most visible in the room. It's about cultivating a set of habits. Habits like consistency, presence, kindness, and calm that quietly speak for you. Habits that build trust. Habits that build connection. When you become the person who lives by their principles, follows through on their word, and offers steady strength without needing applause, something amazing happens. You not only become more attractive, you become someone who leaves a mark. So, as we bring this journey to a close, let's take a final moment to reflect on everything we've covered. Because this isn't just about being admired, it's about becoming someone who moves through the world with silent strength and lasting impact. Throughout this episode, we've uncovered how consistency, reliability, and quiet strength can leave a lasting impact. And now, as we bring everything together, let's reflect on the full picture. Because silent attractiveness isn't about one habit. It's the harmony of many subtle, intentional choices. Each habit we've explored adds a unique thread to the fabric of your presence. When you embrace independence, you send a message without needing to speak. I respect myself. I don't depend on external approval to feel worthy. By mastering silent elegance, you carry yourself with quiet grace. Through your refined demeanor, your attention to detail, and your calm energy, you captivate others without even trying. Being fully present deepens your connections. You stop simply exchanging words and start truly engaging, offering your attention as a rare and powerful gift. A touch of mystery leaves people intrigued. You don't reveal everything at once, and in doing so, you invite others to discover you, layer by layer. Cultivating cultural wisdom expands your perspective. It allows you to connect with others on a deeper, more meaningful level, because your mind is open, curious, and empathetic. And then come the habits that add warmth and humanity, compassion, humor, self-care, emotional intelligence, consistency. Each one of these habits adds richness and dimension to your quiet magnetism. Together, they form a presence that is calm, grounded, and irresistibly attractive, not because it demands attention, but because it earns it. The beauty of this entire journey. You don't need to change who you are. These habits aren't about becoming someone new. They're about aligning more deeply with the strongest, wisest, most grounded version of yourself. Because silent attraction doesn't scream. It doesn't seek applause. It simply shows up, with presence, with purpose, and with quiet confidence. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be real, to live with intention, to show up fully and consistently in the moments that matter. When you begin cultivating these habits, you'll notice something powerful. You don't just change how others see you. You begin to transform how you see yourself. You carry yourself with quiet assurance, not because you're pretending to be confident, but because you're grounded in something real, self-respect, clarity, and purpose. In the end, true attractiveness is rooted in how you live. It's in the choices you make every day. It's not loud, it's not showy, it's steady, it's intentional, and it's deeply felt. You don't have to chase admiration. You don't have to prove your worth. When you live with quiet purpose and authenticity, people will be drawn to you, not because you're trying to be noticed, but because your presence offers something rare: calm, connection, and depth. So as you move forward, take a moment to reflect. Which of these habits resonated most with you? Which one can you start practicing today? You don't need to change everything at once, just begin. One small, intentional step at a time. Thank you for joining me on this journey. If this episode inspired you, I invite you to reflect, take action, and continue becoming the best version of yourself. Not through noise, but through quiet confidence that speaks louder than words. Until next time, stay grounded, stay intentional, and keep becoming the person you were always meant to be.